This is the First Gen Pilot Podcast, episode 20, coming right up.
Rochester departure.
What's going on, aviators? My name is Abraham, and I am your host. Today's episode, we have MK Bruce, a NHL retired and a pilot that owns multiple businesses. In this episode, we talk about how he caught the aviation bug. We also talk about what it was like playing football in the major leagues. With that, we talk about what it's like having your own airplane and flying yourself and your family, flying yourself to anywhere you basically want to go. And aviators, I've put an Amazon link together with all the cool things that a pilot needs, like a flight simulator, a knee pad, or anything that you can think of. I've put an Amazon link together with all the best items out there. Check it out on the link down below, or you can also find it on my Instagram. Also, don't forget to check out the First Gen Pilot YouTube channel. I'm going to be uploading really cool videos. I already have a couple on there already. And let me know what you guys think. And lastly, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a review down below and let me know what you guys are thinking. Also, don't forget to follow this podcast and on any of the platforms you're listening is on. Without further ado, here's MK Bruce.
All right. Well, my name is Mkristo Bruce. I go by MK. I'm a pilot out here in Seattle, Washington, but my main job is I run a mortgage company, and my wife and I own a gym as well.
MK, welcome on the First Gen Pilot Podcast, man. I really appreciate you being here today.
I love it. I love this aviation thing is pretty dope. So it's special to see people excel in it.
Yeah, man, definitely. So you got a really big history, man. So this episode is probably going to look different, like I mentioned earlier. So we kind of going to attack this, how you your past, and then we kind of go into aviation world. So talk to us about yourself. So in the past, what did you do and how did you get to the position you're at today?
Yeah. So I went to Washington State University. I got my degree there, but went on to play in the NFL. Played for the Raiders, Dolphins, and Jaguars, and then it was transitioning into real life. So I got into the mortgage game, which has been great. But the biggest thing was during COVID. I always wanted to fly, I just didn't think it was a possibility to do it. So I was like, man, I miss my calling, because I had to go to school for it. And then I started Googling during COVID, and it was like, no, you could just come take lessons. And it was it after then. I've just been racking up hours ever since.
Yeah, man, flying is definitely really cool.
Yeah, I got the bug for sure. And it took a long time to get the family into it. They're like, you're crazy. Like, we're not doing it, but it's just fun.
Yeah, man, definitely. So let's talk a little about the football that you used to do.
Yeah.
So talk to us about how you got into that and all the NFL thing that goes behind it.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was always playing some kind of sport. So whether it was football, basketball, track, baseball, just whatever I can be out of the house doing. I was one of 8 kids, so it was like there wasn't a lot of food in the house, so I had to go find it somewhere else or stay busy. So I got into football and enjoyed it. I ended up getting a scholarship and playing at Washington State, which was a huge blessing. So being able to go to college and earn a degree and things like that, it was kind of took off from there.
Okay, yeah. And then so what was your experience like in the NFL?
Crazy. it was I don't know, it was cool. It was it's crazy because it was our childhood dream. It was something I've always wanted to do, so to be able to live out that dream was like not many people. I mean, just a half a percent of people to ever do it, so to be able to get to that level was pretty cool. It was exciting. College was fun too. So if you've never been to a college football game, just so electrifying. So to be able to experience that and experience, a sold out, Soldier Field, or something like that, it's just, you can't explain it. Like, it's a feeling, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Like something you have to be there for your experience.
yeah. I mean, now being on the other side, like being in the stands looking down, it's so surreal. It's so different because I remember that feeling of being on the field looking up, right? It was just I
Right.
almost like you were in a different world. It wasn't real life, so
Definitely, man. Like I played sports all over, like throughout my career till high school. But I remember when I'm playing in the field and I played like up to varsity and I played AAU where I traveled basically pretty much every state in the country playing basketball, playing all this
yeah.
big stars, kids, and all that. And I remember that feeling, man. And sports is definitely something big.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I see people right now, they play like the intramurals and they're still playing and stuff like that. I feel like I'll pull my hamstring walking to the fridge now. My body's so beat up, but I get it. It's just like you don't want to let that go,
Right. Yeah, yeah. I'm almost trying to get some games going on in the college right now since I'm not playing for a team or anything. So I'm always going up there shooting hoops and everything. So that
Yeah,
feeling never goes away, man. It's just like you still want to stay
yeah.
active.
Enjoy
Yeah.
that while you can, because once those knees go, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure. Stay healthy. That's it. Stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, man. So like, let's get into this aviation portion of it, man. So like,
Sure.
how did you get into aviation? So like, what was that thing that kind of taught you to go out there and chase this aviation dream?
Yeah. So again, I didn't think it was a possibility, and the more and more I leaned into it, I saw how fascinating it is. I mean, you got to be a weatherman, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be an engineer. I mean, there's just so many things that continuously change. And the coolest thing for me is my son. He graduated high school last year, but I got him into flying.
Hmm.
But I was at, I must have been at like 150 hours, like a total pilot, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna fly to Oshkosh. I was like, what? Let's just do it. So my son and I, he had probably 10 hours flying. I had him somewhere around 150. We flew to Oshkosh from Seattle, and we came in and landed on the dot and spent a week there in a tent. And it was an experience I'll never forget. But it was one of those things that nobody in my family can ever say they did it, right? And
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of people I know that are pilots that have never flown to Oshkosh. And I'm over here bragging like I'm just a brand new VFR pilot that
Right.
landed at Osh, but
Yeah.
it's special, man. It's
Yeah,
special.
definitely, man. Like that feeling of just I went to Oshkosh last year. I didn't fly or anything, but just the feeling again, like with sports, like all that big feeling that you're getting, it's kind of like that with all this cool airplanes around you, this whole like big thing that's going around you.
I would agree with you. I think that's maybe that's why I love it so much because it's the closest. Because I know I can't play anymore, but that thrill of being up there flying, and I
Right.
see I see all these other guys like Mel and Hodges and all these guys that are flying the what are the decathlons or whatever. I don't
Yo,
know if
the
I'm ready for
aerobatic.
that yet. I don't know if I'm ready for that, but at some point I might do a little bit.
Yeah, you'll be surprised, man. I tried that this past summer. Did some aerobatics, and I like the first time I thought I was gonna puke or something, but I went up, did it, like doing loops and all that. You'll be surprised. I
Ugh.
actually love it now.
Well, this is the crazy thing. So before I started flying, I was deathly afraid of heights.
Yeah,
Like I could not even look over a balcony. And then I went up and did my discovery flight. I started flying, and then I got myself to control, and now I'm good with heights now for the most part, which is crazy that I got over that fear by flying.
yeah. It's different when you're in control. Like it's different than just standing on top of a building than flying. I try to tell people that, but
For
it's like
sure.
they don't understand. Yeah,
Yeah, people are like, I'm not getting in that small plane. I'm
yeah.
like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, man. So like, so what ratings do you hold right now?
I got my private pilot, and then I'm working on my IFR right now, and then I'm gonna do my tail wheel, and then seaplane is what I'm doing after.
Okay, and then also like during your training, so like, are you doing like a Part 61 school, or do you have your own airplane or something?
I have my own airplane, so
Okay.
that was another thing too. Is like the level up, right? So I started off with the little. So I flew in a Cessna, and then
Hmm.
I really got into Cirruses. So I went to a Cirrus Flight Academy and ended up getting my private in a Cirrus. Then I came back to Cessna, and I really loved the low wing. So
Yeah.
I saved. I bought my first. I had a Piper Cherokee 140.
Hmm.
I sold that, and then I bought a Cessna 210, and I sold that, and then now I have a Saratoga Turbo,
Nice. All great
which
airplanes,
is really
man.
good for the family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure. But
Yeah.
low wing guy for sure.
Yeah, man. Having your own airplane, I guess you get all that flexibility, like you mentioned. You flying your son down to his school, and
Yeah.
that's really great feeling that you can just do go up and fly.
Oh man, it's so freeing. I'm telling you right now, you have a bad day or a hard week, man. I just go get in that plane and just take off. It's been good.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. All right, and then, so I like talk about funding your trading. So how did you go by that, and how did you kind of attack it? You know, like put it like you're a family man. So like, how did you kind of find the money and like the time to kind of put it through your passion?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I was blessed enough to where, we have a few businesses and things like that, so I had some money saved, and I didn't think I didn't think I totally knew how much it was going to be at first.
Right.
But there's a cheap and easier way to do it, and then there's a more of expensive way, a comfortable way to do it as well. So, if you're out there, trading time or renting a beat up 172, it's going to be a lot more inexpensive than if you went to a Sears, right?
Hmm.
Um, so for me, I saved up money and then I just went through my training on my own and self funded it.
Yeah, definitely. And then throughout your flight training right now, have you had any like scary experiences or anything like that?
Yeah, I had two. So one was that Piper 140, that Cherokee 140 is, definitely very underpowered. And I'm an ex-football player, so I'm 270 pounds. So you got full tanks, and you get stuff in there. You're pushing those limits
Yep.
quite a bit. But um, I had hit um, I had hit there was some wind shear that came, but I'm sorry, there was a microburst that I hit and it was pushing me down and I couldn't pull out of it. And I just had to go back to my training. And I think that was the moment I went back to my instructor when I finally got out of it.
Hmm.
I came back, I landed, and I was like, now I understand why you had me go over these emergency procedures over and over and over. Cause I would tell him, I was like, why are we still doing stalls? Why are we
Right.
doing this?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're gonna thank me when you need it. so so I made sure, I pitched my nose up and I didn't try and yank it up and stall the airplane and got back okay, but it was scary for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like with flying, there's so many, like there's so much things that you got to learn. Like you mentioned, you're a lawyer, you're a weatherman, you all this. So you got to keep it fresh. So like doing it over and over
Yeah.
is definitely gonna work out in your way when you need it.
Yeah, and I was wondering, like, I was like, why is there a practice area where, licensed pilots are going and practicing? It was like, that's why. I was like, okay, makes sense now.
Yeah,
Makes
definitely.
sense.
Yeah, I've had airline pilots on here and they said like every 6 months they got to go back and do like basically a check ride.
Retraining.
Yep, every
Yeah.
time, and I was like,
Yeah.
it never ends.
Which I'm appreciative of, by the way, knowing that they get rechecked out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's if everybody out there is scared of flying, just know that they put them back into getting trained every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. And then so if you were to go back and like redo your whole journey with flying right now, what are some things that you would do the same, and what are some things that you do differently?
I tell myself that all the time. I wish I would have just taken a solid week or 2 weeks and just all day almost did like a accelerated course by myself and did that and knocked things out and then came back and practiced and then re got checked out.
Hmm.
The hardest thing you do is you study, you do 1.2, flying, and then you take 2 weeks off, right? And then you almost have to like do that all over again to catch back up, right?
Right.
So it just took me a little bit longer with my work schedule and family versus just saying like, hey, I'm going to take a week vacation and just do this for a week, right?
Yep.
Or whatever. So that's one thing I maybe wish I would have done.
Yeah, definitely. Like taking that longer break definitely does hurt you in some way. But especially like for me out here in the Minnesota, the weather is a big thing here, and like you don't fly a lot because of the weather. I mean, I haven't flown for a couple of weeks now, and it's like I got to go back
Oh,
and redo a few things.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's tough. That's tough. I mean, man, not flying for 2 weeks hurts.
it does. Yeah, definitely. I can feel it, but I gotta chair fly and all that just to keep fresh. I got
There
a
you go.
simulator try to
And that's one thing too I
get in
would
there.
say is I wish I would have done more chair flying because when my instructor first told me, I was like, that sounds so dumb. Like, why am I going to sit in a chair and fly? But that button recognition is so important.
Hmm.
So, in the flows.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like with like chair flying comes into the emergencies that you mentioned earlier, like knowing the flow. You don't want to just catch it by surprise because it's that split second that's going to save you. You got to
Absolutely.
know what to do right there and then. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. And then, so have you had any failures so far with like a written test or check ride or anything like that? And have they affected you in any way?
Man, I failed my first written test and I was so defeated. But I look back on it and I wasn't ready to take it. I tried to rush through it and but it didn't feel good. I know that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, luckily I didn't fail any check rides or anything like that. But the written test, I failed the first one.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know like what you did second time that worked for you?
Studied harder. I just I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it was.
Okay.
I thought it was just going to be basically everything we were doing just in our training
Yeah.
and it was so much more. And getting that E6B or get that calculator out and measuring and I was like, man, I used ForeFlight. What am I gonna do with this?
Yeah.
But uh, but yeah, it was good to know.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you know about Shepherd Air. It's like a studying for your written. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That's
I just bought it for my IFR, so
yeah,
everybody swears by it.
yeah, definitely. I use it for all mine, and it's like I get like at least like 80% or higher. It's guaranteed
Okay,
because you study and they have all the questions on there. It's basically memorization at that point because if you just know how to calculate and you know the answer, it's like basically given.
how long do you use Shepherd Air before you take the test? How long do you study on it?
So I usually try to hit like 2 weeks hard, but I usually get it like in a month earlier, and or I just it really depends. Like right now, I'm doing my flight instructing stuff, and I already got it right now, even though like my check heart's gonna be like way down. But I just go in and out, and then by the time I'm ready to take it or trying to get it to take it, I'm gonna go in and like 2 weeks hard hit it. Like at least try to get. They make us we have to get like 390s before we can take the test here. But if you're doing part 61 or that's different. But for the school here, you have to get 390s just so that they know you've been studying hard and going at it.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna look into that. I
Yeah.
gotta get my IFR for sure. You can't be a VFR pilot out here, man. You need that.
Hey man, I'm telling you, once you get that IFR, it's definitely now you feel like a real pilot. Just wait till you get your IFR. It's gonna feel like a next level type of thing.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's a whole new language though. Like, but once you get it, it's like I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I'm waiting for. Just because there's so many days out here with all the clouds and rain and all
Yeah.
that stuff that I was like, I need to be flying. I know I can, but I'm a stupid VFR pilot right now.
No,
uh,
all good, man. You'll get it all down, and it's gonna feel good.
sure.
All right. So like this question, how did you stay motivated throughout your flight training? And so coming from sports, you probably talked about work hard, go back at it, redo everything. So how did you use that mindset towards flying or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a quote I got it on my wall. It says, "You don't show up on game day and expect to be great. Greatness happens in practice. You have to expect things of yourself before you can do them." So I put that on why Michael Jordan said that. So I was like, man, I'm up here. I want to be this great pilot. I want people to brag about how well I fly, but I'm not putting in the work,
Hmm.
So that was the thing that got me. And then I studied and I passed that test. And then I was like, all right, you got to put in the work. So
Yeah, definitely. You can't like with aviation. I mean, it's with everything, but like with especially aviation, you can't just slack around and expect it to just come to you. I mean, you gotta put that hard work
yeah,
in. I mean, they're not paying you those big bucks in the end. You know, if you're going to the airlines or any job, they're not paying big bucks because you've been sleeping around.
100%, 100%.
All right, and then so let's talk about your end goal. Talk about airlines here. So is there an end goal that you have that you want to see yourself in the end?
I want to get all of my ratings, and then I want to do something with my son. So my son's he's gonna pass me up real quick when he goes to this school. So I want to figure out how I can get all of my ratings and fly with him. At one point, I want to do something with him. I don't know what,
Yep.
but just as long as I have all of my ratings and I can fly with them, I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like especially like having a dad that's in aviation, that's definitely pretty cool. I know you probably know how hard it is if you're the first person in your aviation world, and definitely
Yeah,
tough. So like having
you're
someone,
speaking a different
it
language,
is,
right?
yeah. Nobody understands you. It's like, hey, this here's a stall, or like here's how this works. Hey, what is that?
My wife makes me turn the radio off when the plane. She's like, I don't want to hear any more niner talk. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, babe, I'll see you when we get there.
yeah, man. It's like you got to when you explain it to someone who doesn't know aviation, it's like a whole different
They
thing.
don't get it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so like I'm doing my flight instructing stuff like I mentioned earlier. So we got to teach people how to fly, and like the concept that they use is so different. Like one of the things that we do in class now is we gotta talk about like teach something that we already know, like not non aviation related, right? So we're talking about basketball maybe. So I got to teach the whole class what basketball is and how it works, all that. So everybody comes with their own topic that they're experts on. So we kind of integrate it because that's how you got to teach someone how they're gonna fly and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
That's a hard job. It's like teaching someone a new language for
Definitely.
sure.
Oh yeah, yep. All right, and that's like last question here. If you have some tips for someone who's getting to aviation right now or pursuing their dreams already.
What tips do I have?
Yep.
Um, Man, I get this question a lot because I'm actually getting a lot of friends that are starting to get into aviation now, and
Mhm.
um, people ask me all the time. I think a lot of people get stuck on price or the time commitment and things like that. But everybody's got their own thing, whether you go to the bar or whether you play basketball or work
Mhm.
out, whatever it is, like you got to have something for you. So if this is something that you like doing, go take a discovery flight. I think discovery flight is a big way to like get that bug and start the process. So I would say take a discovery flight and then I don't know, find somebody on Instagram or something, and go fly with them or something.
Right.
Do something because people are always looking for an excuse to fly.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. Having that person or like that thing you could just go out there and do is definitely gonna help you out.
yeah, you just got to get up though. Once you get up, man, it'll bite you.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the aviation bug will get you.
Yeah. All right, then. So, lastly, here we have a would you rather game. So, I'll give you a couple options and you pick one from that.
Okay.
All right. So, first one we have general aviation or commercial.
Oh, GA all day,
Right away.
all day. Yeah,
Yeah.
easy.
All right. And then, so, would you rather fly over beaches or mountains?
Man, you know what? I've just done both. So we have some big mountains over here, and then obviously we flew over some mountain ranges going to Oshkosh. Absolutely gorgeous, especially when you see snow on the tops and everything like that. But I just had the option or the ability to fly down the Washington coast.
Uh
That was beautiful, seeing the water and
huh.
everything like that. So I don't
Yeah.
think you can go wrong with either one. So I'd say either one are great,
Yeah. Yeah. They're both great.
but I'll probably pick mountains. So
Yeah. All right. So, then would you rather fly high wing or low wing?
low wing all day. I like a low wing.
All right. And then, so would you rather fly Airbus or Boeing?
What's what's the big debate on this? Because I don't know if I'm following. What is the biggest debate on this? Because I see people are always just snapping on everybody.
Right. So do you want a stick or do you want a yoke? Basically.
Oh, okay. Yoke all day.
Yep. So Airbus is gonna have that yoke on the side, and then the Boeing just like a regular yoke that
Oh, I
every
see. So
airplane
that
has.
serious side stick, I got you.
Yep. That Cirrus is your Airbus type of feel.
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, either one. I mean, I flew a Cirrus. I got my private in it. It's actually, I thought it was going to be super weird at first, but it was actually not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like kind of put in the concept, like when you're flying a regular aircraft, you just
You're
hold it
doing the
with one hand
same thing.
actually.
Yeah.
Right. It's basically.
I think it's funny.
Yeah. So I don't know. Right. And then last one we have. So well, you work on your IFR right now, but would you rather fly?
I want to be an IFR pilot. I'm going to say IFR. I'll say IFR even though I'm not. IFR pilot.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm telling you, man, IFR is definitely like. I remember when I got it. It's just talking to ATC, talking to center. Everything is there for you. You just have to fly the airplane and just talk to them. It's
Yeah.
just amazing.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. Well, that's all I have for you. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you having me, brother.
That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening in. I hope you enjoyed this and found it beneficial. Make sure you check out my man MK Bruce on Instagram and hit him up if you have any questions. Also, don't forget to follow the podcast on any of the platforms that you're listening on and leave a review. Until next time, keep the blue side up. We'll see you.